I'm William Schroeder with Just Mind Counseling, and today I'm here with Andrea Oberhauser, LPC Associate, and an EFT therapist here in Austin, and we're going to talk today about how to stop overfunctioning in relationships. The first question that comes up for people is, why does the person who's doing everything actually make the problem worse and not better?
I think that there are two main reasons around this. I think the first one is that overfunctioners tend to do so silently. They do and they do and they perpetuate the cycle in the sense that by overdoing, they end up exhausted, they end up tired. And when they do bring up the problem to their partner, they do so already they're angry. And if overfunctioners were more vocal, not only about what they did, but what kind of help they needed, the problem would lessen. And I think that the second way that overfunctioners can sometimes make things worse is that they are really good at what they do. They know exactly what they need to do and how they need to do it in order for things to go smoothly. And oftentimes, the more that they do, the less room there is for their partners to actually come in and meet some of those needs or expectations of life. And they often forget how resourceful their partner actually is. So, if I take the example of dinner, for example, the overfunctioner does dinner every single night because they fear that if they don't, dinner won't be served. But if they let room for their partner to come in, they could notice that maybe it won't be the perfect dinner that they would have made, but the resourcefulness in their partner would be able to call for a delivery service and dinner would be served. So I think it's one of the two main reasons why overfunctioners tend to sometimes not wanting to make things worse.
And so often they can suffer in silence too. So, and there can be different things. I'll say from my own experience of therapy and being a couples therapist, it's like sometimes it comes from their programming from growing up, whether it be they had to overfunction and this has just been a role that they've played since a young age. Maybe it's because of parents that weren't completely available, or, there's a hypervigilance that came for some other reason. And so it's a real big challenge to not do that and to try and look for creating space and, if something goes wrong, to allow that piece too. For the next question that I have here, if someone recognizes themselves as the overfunctioner in a relationship, what's the one thing they should stop doing first?
I think the first thing is to stop doing it in silence, I think, as you just mentioned. There is something about openly communicating, not only what you are already doing, but asking for where you need help. And because with overfunctioners, it's not often about doing more, but it's about doing things differently. So when an overfunctioner has the ability to say what they're already doing, be recognized for it, and then ask for help, their partners have more room to step in. And with that, and in the same vein, it would be important that when the partner does step in, I am sure that they're going to do it differently than you. So there's a lot of practicing the good enough in the way that your partner has done it.
And sometimes too, and we've talked about this before too, of even like writing down a list of what are all the different things where you function. Because sometimes there's that invisible like division of labor where it can be kids' doctor's appointments, all the different things that go into managing life every week and every month, paying bills, all the different things that are tasks that are divided among the couple, and looking at what are the, maybe top three that I could allow somebody to be able to help on, or to even explore that piece together. It's people may avoid that problem that's there and assume what their partner might think if they ask for help. And sometimes, when couples come together and they go ahead and make that list and look at those things together, it can be so surprising and helpful to them.
It can be because often also the overfunctioner can look at the things that they didn't notice that their partner is actually taking responsibility on. And that can be a relief in of itself.
I guess that leads us perfectly to the next question, which is, what does it feel like to stop over functioning? And why is the feeling part of the reason in the pattern so hard to break?
It is really hard to stop over functioning because it comes with a big sense of loss of control. And over functioning usually comes from this fear that we've talked about of if I don't do it, it won't happen. And stopping is One, opening up the possibility of being let down, which I think historically can be hard for some people because of their history. It opens up the door to feeling unsafe in a world where you've managed to find many ways of making it safe. And it also ends up feeling there's a lot of anxiety around it. There's a lot of trusting that has to go into the process of to stop doing some things. There's a lot of fear in stop over functioning, but it can be a really good way and to start feeling a little more connected with your partner.
And I think it's such a great thing to like bring up in a counseling session too, is like, what would it be like to stop? What would that feel like? What does this really hold together for you? And what's the story that you tell yourself if you stop? Because for so many people, that is different. And to be able to share that, it helps it lose its power. Well, thank you, Andrea. Thank you for sharing this time with me.